So I would like to introduce our speaker today, our very own Jeremy Newman. Originally from New York, Jeremy graduated Northeastern University with a degree in psychology and human services. He got his start volunteering at the age of 9 when his family began working with the homeless in New York City in the late 1980s, an activity that would locally define what would ultimately become Share the Project. Throughout the 90s and into 2000s, Jeremy continued volunteering on monthly runs into the city at night, where friendships with the homeless and other volunteers became a way of life, not just an activity. Following college, Jeremy worked for the social services agency VinFan in Boston as a counselor at group homes. He would specialize in supporting dual diagnosis clients suffering from both mental illness and addictions for 2 years. After leaving VinFan for the corporate world, he would later volunteer with other Boston-based organizations, such as People Making a Difference. Around 2008, Jeremy would take the lead on fundraising for Share's annual Thanksgiving dinner for the homeless and other projects, and became chairman of the board of directors following Share's incorporation as a 501c3. Jeremy lives in Quincy with his wife, Bridget, who grew up in Quincy, and 2 kids, Oliver, 6, and Lucy, 4. Jeremy has resolved to continue the work of Share here in Quincy, having made bulk deliveries of face masks and socks to both Interfaith Social Services and the Quincy Public School District, where he looks forward to further partnership opportunities and ways of doing good in the community. Quite impressive. Turning over to you, Jeremy.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for being here to listen. I will say 2 things. First of all, we'll see how the timing goes on this. I do have a slide deck that we can show if there's time after I speak. And also, I was really hoping that not being in front of many people would calm the nerves. Unfortunately, Zoom still has that effect on me. So, okay. I'm here to talk about Share the Project. Share is a social justice program for students and community members who want to make a positive impact around themselves. We work with each community that we serve to identify the most critical social issues within and to develop creative solutions intended to make a difference. Jeannie Newman, transparency, my mother, founder and executive director, was a high school teacher in her own community in Westchester County, New York, who saw how the Metro New York area was being impacted by homelessness and hunger that was invasive in the late 1980s. In 1988, we first partnered with the Midnight Run, a homeless outreach organization in Dobbs Ferry, New York. Since then, Share has done nearly 400 monthly midnight runs, bringing food, clothing, toiletries, and most importantly, conversation and friendship to hundreds of homeless friends per night. Share has a membership of hundreds of current and former students and adult volunteers. This past December marked our 33rd anniversary. Our board of directors includes Jeannie's husband, Robert Wyatt, and 3 adult children, myself and my wife, Bridget, my brother, Gabe, and my sister, Katie Newman, as well as other members of the communities in which we serve. We have a student board of directors composed of 10 students from Hastings High School in Hastings-on-Hudson, New York, where Share was located for 30 years. As Share expands to other communities, including Quincy, we do plan to have local boards in place. Share is funded by private donations through Network of Good, as well as through occasional grants. So a bit of history about us. We began as a couple of one-off trips to help struggling folks move their belongings after being evicted from their settlements, after this turned into a monthly call to action. Our initial project, as mentioned earlier, was a monthly outreach to the homeless communities of New York City, where our student and adult volunteers would bring food, clothing, blankets, and toiletry items to the folks on the street. In 1989, we hosted our first of many annual Thanksgiving dinners for the homeless at Hastings High School, where we served and broke bread with 125 homeless men from the streets of Manhattan. Our largest dinner a few years ago served 859 men, women, and children from all 5 boroughs of New York City and Westchester County. This last year, due to the constraints of the pandemic, Share took dinner to our friends on the streets, safely and effectively serving 1,000 hot turkey dinners served from 5 cargo vans that went throughout the city and Westchester. Our other projects have included Project Prom, where clean, gently used prom wear for both girls and guys was collected and distributed to those students who couldn't afford the skyrocketing costs of prom. This particular program has spread throughout Westchester County in New York. We assisted communities that were affected by Hurricane Sandy, worked with the Pine Bridge Reservation in South Dakota, sending winter outerwear for the children there. We took part in Empty Bowls, an event that serves the hungry poor. During the beginnings of the pandemic, Share placed nearly a ton of frozen food in shelters in New York, in Yonkers, New York, and ultimately created a face mask pipeline of vendor donors to distribute over 30,000 face masks nationally. Here in Quincy, we delivered 1,000 washable face masks, as well as 1,000 new socks for distribution to QPS students in need. And we've partnered with Ethan Allen for a 2020 holiday gift drive, bringing over 100 toys and personal care item gifts to the school district as they to give as they see the need from the student body. Our plans for Quincy, we plan to expand in the sense of getting more people involved and creating more projects that impact the people around us. We've technically partnered with QPS, and as we said before, we very much look forward to figuring out how we can work with the district to get more students involved. I've been asked before, why Quincy? In addition to raising my family here in Quincy, I want to make sure that the same type of programs that I grew up with, opportunities to look for ways of making a difference in the community, to solve problems with creative solutions, are available here. Quincy has a tremendously diverse population, and my experiences here have highlighted the everyday support on regular display within the community. What are the long-term plans for the group? Well, as idyllic as it may sound, it is to be a social justice service group in whatever community throughout the nation really needs us. We have alumni around the country, some of whom have discussed launching initiatives in their local communities, such as Austin, Texas, and San Francisco. The service that Share provides is really just a framework for empowerment. It's about looking at the community that you're in and recognizing little things that you can do, and maybe get creative with it. For example, the Project Prom, which I spoke about a little while ago, was initially thrown out by a student at one of the student board meetings, and everyone rallied around it. The kids organized themselves, and through the communication and outreach, collected and distributed those prom dresses and tuxedos and suits that I mentioned. Our service is often twofold: the person or people who are being helped, but also, and sometimes as important, is the student or the community member who is offered the outreach and how they will remember the occasion. It's that experience that enables a pay it forward mentality. There is a sense of equity and equality that develops between the student volunteers and the adult group leaders. We ensure that the ideas introduced by the kids are considered equally to those given by adults. And then on the other side, most of the projects we run are meant to promote these principles among typically underserved populations. As I myself have become very fond of saying, we'll never be great as a people if we aren't good as individuals. That is kind of the write-up that I have, and I guess I was given, let's see. I will share my screen. I will do this presentation. As I said, this is kind of a little, oh boy, how do we do this? Is this? What are you guys seeing?
Yes.
Okay. What are you seeing? Because I can't.
Yeah, we can
I
see
see
your PowerPoint.
your
You see it?
PowerPoint.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Let's see if I can just make this present. We still good?
Good.
All right, great.
Awesome.
So I had the opportunity to meet with Mayor Koch several months ago when I was starting to get things together, and this is now an extra worked on version of what I brought to him. So Start with, move this out of the way. I'm having trouble seeing my own. Oops. So Share the Project is dedicated to creating local solutions for a better tomorrow. We utilize the drive, empathy, and creativity of students and their families to empower communities and raise awareness. We're a program of wide-ranging involvement, working in partnership with the greater community and to develop and execute our projects. One of the things that we focus on is equity versus equality and making sure that our volunteers, both students and adult volunteers, understand that and are able to work in ways that promote them both. Why share? Most communities will have problems that are hidden from plain sight, that are perhaps only seen or recognized by students, their families, or community members. Share believes that students can learn to step outside themselves as they become aware of the existing social issues in their near and greater community. By identifying, oh my goodness. By identifying the social issues of each community, I'm sorry, Zoom has like all of this stuff in the way. Of each community, Share has been able to connect with existing agencies with a roll-up-your-sleeve action plan. We offer in-depth teacher training and support as Share becomes part of the educational community. Our process is in 3 steps. First, the Share leadership meets with local community and education leaders to discuss current initiatives and any gaps in the service and known community needs. Step 2 is to begin conversations with the student body, to learn what their issues are, develop ways to dissect them, and to respond. And step 3 is to encourage and support students as they develop, research, plan, and execute their ideas with community integration. In the 32 years that Share has, well, now 33 years that Share has been in existence, our students have prepared and served on the streets of New York City and Westchester County 20,380 pounds of turkey served at our so far now 31 Thanksgiving dinners. I mean, close to 100,000 bagged lunches, over 25,000 cups of coffee, and over 4,000 hot dogs on our annual hot dog run, and so much soup and chili, over 20,000 cups. And of course, there are the smiles, the countless smiles of the people that we serve and the people who are serving them. Within the suburbs of New York City, Share has directly led well over 1,000 students in monthly midnight runs, bringing food and clothes and conversation to the homeless, Project Prom, where students collect and redistribute lightly used prom dresses, Crossing Borders, another initiative, bringing urban students together with suburban students to create more in-depth possibilities and understandings within the groups. And of course, our annual Thanksgiving dinner for the homeless, as well as so many more. And we're just getting started here in Quincy and in other areas of the country. I want to thank you all for your time and your attention, and I'm going to put it out there for any questions. If I can see here. Share.
Hey, so Jeremy, thanks for that. That was very helpful. I know we've talked at lunch a few times about what you were working on, and seeing it like that was helpful to get my mind around what you were doing. The question I have is, so you framed it really well. So my mind immediately goes to your meeting with the mayor, and like how far along you are in Quincy, and what have you discovered in the process in terms of gaps and needs and so forth.
That's a great question, Walter. Thank you. And thank you for your kind words about the presentation. So the meeting with the mayor was, I think, maybe last October or September. And the kind of point of that meeting was to begin to get connected with other individuals within the community. He was very generous in connecting me with the superintendent of Quincy Public Schools, Kevin Mulvey. And well, he was acting at the time. I believe he is now the full-time superintendent. And we've started to, I've had 1 or 2 calls with him, and we have discussed just broad initiatives that are possible There hasn't been a lot of communication right now, and I think that's understandable with the pandemic and with all of the strife that's going on with schools, and trying to get back to in-person. I certainly intend to reach out to them closer to the end of this year, this school year, and my son will be going to into first grade in the QPS next year. So I think there will be some opportunities as we all heal as a community from the events of the last year or so. So nothing is concrete right now. We have done some paperwork to kind of solidify that a partnership is there, and I think that when the time is right, then we'll be able to make further moves, and I will be more than happy to keep you all updated as that happens. Are there any other questions?
Oh, I have a question. Maybe Mary Lou can chime in here, but Mary Lou, what's your thoughts with the Interact clubs working with Jeremy?
Sorry. I was trying to take Jen's booby prize for technology. I've got two things going and I don't know how to turn this one off. Let me try to do that first. Okay. So yes, Interact is a real good, as Jeremy was speaking, I kept thinking, first of all, I think it'd be great if he could present at one of their meetings, because the last project that they did was with Father Bill's. They collected toiletries and socks and that and took them over and made the connection with Father Bill's. So they have tried to do one thing a month, and I think it would be a good connection. I think it would be nice for them to see on a Zoom. They do Zoom once a month on a Friday afternoon. And, I think they'd be very interested, because a lot of them now are getting ready to go off to college and to try to figure out where they're going to fit their little community service niche into the bigger world, bigger than the high school world. So I think there's definitely, and I would also offer the same thing to North Quincy High at the same time. So, I think it's a natural fit. I think all of the projects that you do are things that would resonate with the young people, the Thanksgiving dinner and the prom dresses and, feeding the hungry. I think all of those things would resonate with those young people. So I will speak to you offline about maybe doing that. I think your presentation here was like just perfect. I think it, was just enough of the slides and enough of the personal touch that you have and why you got involved in it. That would be perfect for them. So we'll talk offline if that's all right.
Excellent. Thank you. I look forward to it. Anyone else? Okay. Well, once again, I thank you all for your time and for hearing me, for your interest in this. And I am more than happy to answer any other questions if anyone wants to reach out to me offline. Thank you all.
Thank
Jeremy,
you so-
no need to be nervous. You did a great job.
Yeah, it was a great
Just about to say the same thing. Like, yeah, it was great. So
You did a great job. Thank you so much, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy.
And we really appreciate it. It was a wonderful presentation. So awesome to learn more about it. Thank you so much, guys, for attending. Lily, it was nice to see you. Please send our regards to the rest of the Milton Club. Hope to see everybody else over there soon. And take care, everyone. I hope you have a great remainder of the week. We'll see you next week.
Next
Bye,
year
guys.
in Milton. We'll
Bye,
be with
everyone.
you next year.
Happy
we
St.
definitely have-
Patrick's
Lunch.
Day.
Yes, it's your
Thanks.
We have
turn.
to get something
Eat.
scheduled.
Lots of corned beef, guys.
Okay,
Happy
you
St.
bet.
Patrick's Day, everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.